We welcome you into week 5 of the Ken Sparks Show as Carson-Newman picks up a 48-20 victory over the Mars Hill Lions and Carson-Newman's first home game in exactly 1 month. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier, alongside Carson-Newman head football coach Ken Sparks. Ken, nice way to get back to Mossy Creek and get back with a win.
Wow, glad to be home, and our kids were glad to be home, and considering all the competition we had a good crowd, and it was loud, and had some good things to happen, I think, for us as a team, and I think we even down to the very last play, we played hard, and if the official hadn't made a mistake on stopping the clock he thought it was 4th down when it was 3rd down, we would have held them out of the end zone. Our little old guys that was in there, thank goodness we got to play a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so some of them guys were in there just scraping the best they could scrape to keep them out of the end zone.
It seemed like this is the first game this season that we can talk about where you play a complete game. Kicking game sound, offensive sound, and the defense. Second half performed spectacularly. Punt, pick, punt, pick.
Yes.
That's Mars Hill's first 5 drives.
Yes, I know it. And what a difference that makes. And except for, a breakdown or two on coverage, and giving up maybe 1 or 2 runs over 20 yards, and then 3 turnovers on offense. We got to get out of that little deal. Of course, one of them was a tip, and the other was just hit one of our receivers right in the chest, and he drops it. Flicks it up in the air. We dropped too many passes.
Mm-hmm.
We dropped about 4 passes and all of them would have, at least 2 of them would have been touchdowns. And so I don't know what's going on with that, but we got to get that corrected.
That was the one thing. DeAndre Thomas, a great game, goes over 200 yards for the first time this season, 5th time in his career, over 100 yards on the ground. But the 2 picks, neither one of them you really can put directly on him. No. He easily could have gone over 300 yards if receivers catch the ball.
Right, and without any interceptions. And so his quarterback rating wasn't as good as it needed to be, but that was on us. It wasn't on him, it was on us.
We take a look at the first half highlights as the Eagles pick up a 48-20 victory at home over the Mars Hill Lions when we get back after this on the Ken Sparks Show. Back on the Ken Sparks Show as the Eagles pick up a 48-20 victory over the Mars Hill Lions. Ken, a first half, you're up 28-14, but the first quarter, back and forth action, you strike quick with Trayshawn Ward to open up the ball game. What kind of tone did that set, and then what did Mars Hill do to take it away with a big play of their own on their first drive?
Well, we were anticipating the coverage that they were using against us, and which mean that they had a guy that was responsible for the pitch and the slot receiver, which is impossible. And you can't do both of those. You can't be a fish and a foul. You got to be one or the other. And so we, that one was worked out pretty good. And then right off the bat, we give up a big play to them on their first possession. They scored in 3 plays, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It would sound like it looked like a rerun of the Wayne State game. And then we, I think we fumble. No, we throw an interception, and then they go right back down and score, and we're behind 14-7. And but the great thing about this particular ball game, which means I think we're maturing and growing up, which is what we want to do, and that's our goal, is that I saw no despair in anybody, in any of the coaches, and any of the players, offensively, defensively. I saw nobody that says, uh-oh. They were all saying, yes, let's go. And so it was good.
What's that say about the turnaround for that growth? Because you and I have sat here for 4 straight weeks coming into this game and have had something to grumble about at some point or another each week. What's that say that this week that happened?
Well, I think we're growing up. I think we've been coaching hard, coaching the same things, coaching a whole lot about pad leverage and about blocking and tackling, and just some of our young guys are growing up. You got to remember, we got some people on the field that just hadn't played, and so to get them some playing time helps, and so you don't really have a chance to grow until you have a chance to practice things under the fire, and so we're getting better, and that's great. And one particular thing that really showed up was Coach Reve's challenged the kickoff team because we had a guy that's averaging 52 yards a return, and it was fun to watch that bunch. And of course, it starts off with a kick, and Ben Ogle was giving us really good kicks.
We'll talk a little bit more about what the Eagles did to Dimitri Holmes in just a moment, but first, we'll take a look at the first half highlights. Eagles up win 48-20, up at the break 28-14.
So 2nd and 8, Carson-Newman from the right hash at their own 39. Thomas, a slant to Ward over the middle of the field. Has it at the 50. Nobody's within 10 yards of him. Ward will take it the distance. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. How do you like that right out of the gates? 61 yards and a score on the slant over the middle of the field for Carson-Newman. 6-0, and we haven't even played 45 seconds.
Well, that's impressive from the Eagles, but that's certainly a case there. Mars Hill so worried about this Eagle running.
Thomas under center. Gives to Jones on a trap right side. Fighting, pushing the pile forward. Does he get in? No signal yet. Yes! Touchdown! Carson-Newman! Jamal Jones fights his way into the end zone for the second time this season. Mars Hill keeps the drive alive. 1st and 10 from the Eagles' 41. Miller back to pass, looks out left side. Ball's batted in the air, and Eric Kane comes away with it. An interception. He collapses to the turf at the 34. Ball popped into the air. Kane adjusted, contorted his body around, reached up with 2 paws, and yanked it into his chest. One pick begets another, and now the Eagles will see if they can take advantage of Mars Hill's first miscue. 3rd down the Eagles have faced today. Thomas under center, the ball in the middle of the field at the 41 on 3rd and 3. Split back, zip it to the left, Jones to the right. Thomas takes the snap, fakes the dive, jets over the left side of the line. Thomas, loads of room in front of him, 40, 30, and he's caught from behind inside the 25, racing along the left hash mark by Maddox down at the 18. DeAndre Thomas reels off his longest rush of the season. A 41-yarder to get the Eagles into the red zone. 1st and 10 from the Mars Hill 18. Hill 8, Thomas under center, split back. Zip it to the left, Jones to the right. Thomas takes the snap, fakes the dive, juking left, fighting to the end zone, and he gets in. DeAndre Thomas. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. An 8-yard run. DeAndre Thomas would not be wrangled down by the Lions' Trey Clark. Had him at the 2, but Thomas shifted his weight and leaned right to get into the end zone. Touchdown Eagle. DeAndre Thomas will sneak, gets the hefty push from Jamal Jones, and gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Quarterback sneak works like a charm for Carson-Newman.
Those are the first half highlights as Carson-Newman heads into the locker room, 28-14 on the Mars Hill Lions. Ken, Dimitri Holmes, potentially one of the best wide receivers in the country for Mars Hill, potentially one of the best return men in the country for Mars Hill, and you hold him to 55 all-purpose yards, his lowest total in 20 games. What did you do to slow him down?
Well, the main thing, we had great kickoff coverage, and those kids took it as a personal challenge. And like I said before, Ben Ogle placed the ball right where we wanted it with hang time. Kicked a couple of them in the end zone. I think defensively we, of course, had a red light on his helmet to make sure that we knew where he was, and tried to, be alert to some of the things that they did with him. And I threw a pass with him right off the bat. I think it was a 1-yard gain.
Yeah.
And so last year his pass was about 60-something yards for a touchdown. And so he's really a good footballer, and he's fast. When he gets a crease, he's gone. And we just were able to keep him out of the creases this time.
His first 5 catches went for 9 yards. What was the main point of emphasis throughout the week to slow him down?
Well, we just wanted to know where he was on the field, and we wanted to make sure that we understood the combinations that they would try to do with him and the other receivers, depending on where he was lining up. But it was mostly their play calling. I mean, that's the way they decided to use him. I think they missed him deep at least twice.
Mm-hmm.
And we had good coverage. I mean, when I say miss him deep, we had him covered pretty good, when they were trying to go deep with him. And so we just were fortunate to have a good plan against a great player.
First half, defensively, Mars Hill on their second score, drives down, 18-play, 6-minute drive, and a funky little play where the Lions punch it in with Jamel Harbison. He kind of reaches the ball over the goal line. But what was a pretty stout goal line stand up until that point, and a call that you could go back and forth on. Do you call us forward progress, this, that, and the other? What did that do momentum-wise for your defense to show that you could go toe-to-toe with the team in that situation?
Well, it was a 4th down play, and our guys said that they heard a whistle. And that his forward progress was stopped, and that there was a whistle. And then on his second or third effort, then he reached it over the goal line. And I know our sideline was pretty upset with it, and our coaches in the box were upset with it. And but we didn't give them, except for the first drive, we were pretty stingy on defense, and especially as we got closer to the end zone, we got a lot tougher. And I think when we really evaluate this tape, I think we're going to be pleased with what we see.
We break down the second half when we get back after this on the Ken Sparks Show. Back on the Ken Sparks Show, the Eagles victorious over the Mars Hill Lions in Week 5, 48-20. And Ken, the second half belongs to Andy Hibbett. Terrible day for him, only carried the ball 7 times, only 27 yards a carry, 191 yards and 3 scores. What did he do to break free and run wild in the second half?
Well, he had 10 other people blocking for him, and a quarterback executing the offense, et cetera, et cetera. It takes 11 to get it done. But Andy, he decided when he got in space that he was going to go score, and he looked like a big old racehorse going down that field 2 or 3 times. And he's already got a little bit of size, and he's faster than everybody thinks he is.
You talk about people blocking for him on a couple of runs. Damian Baker's 30 yards downfield throwing blocks for him. Anthony Eubanks drives a guy, it seemed like 60 yards off the ball. Yeah. What about the job from the receivers and running backs?
Well, I think we did really well all over. I've got a little bit of problem with our receivers this week. We didn't play the kind of at the level that we need to play as a group at receiver, and we missed some blocks and missed some passes. But overall, again, we got a long way to go, but we're on our way. So it's encouraging.
Defensively, Eric Kane with the pick, David Crumity with the pick, and in his first game ever suiting up,
isn't that amazing?
Jawan Holmes with a pick.
Wasn't that great? We had some young guys that came in and played good football, and that's exhilarating to me to see that happen.
We take a look at the second half highlights. Eagles roll to a 48-20 victory over the Mars Hill Lions.
Second down, 3 to go for the Eagles from the right hash at their own 42. Thomas takes the snap, gives on the dive left side to Andy Hibbett. Hibbett blasting past the linebackers, past the safeties. 20, 10, adios, touchdown, Carson-Newman. Andy Hibbett on his 5th carry of the ball game goes 58 yards for a score. And Carson-Newman's up 34-14 with 8:46 left in the third quarter.
Great speed from Andy Hibbett. You don't necessarily think that he has the kind of breakaway speed, but there were 2 safeties that were plus 10 in terms of yardage on Hibbett, and certainly looked like they had the angle on him. But all of a sudden, the senior just turned it on and was able to shriek into the end zone. Hibbett with another big play for this Eagle offense.
5 to go for the 35. Wide out each way. Now Ward in motion to the wide side left. Thomas takes the snap, split backs. Pitches right to Hibbett. Hibbett with a blocker along the right sideline. Fights past a man. 30, 25, moving left. 15, Hibbett, 10, moving to the left pylon. Races past Buxton. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. That set up absolutely beautifully. Great blocking along the right sideline for Andy Hibbett to traipse his way for a 64-yard touchdown run. 41-14 Eagles, under 6 minutes left in the third.
You want to play in this offense as a receiver or a running back, learn how to block.
Second down 11 for the Lions from the 26, their own 26. Handoff straight ahead, Harbison, and not much for him. A loss back to the 24. Austin Palmer doing work inside to get to Harbison and knock him back for -2. And Tim interception. And now the Eagles trying to get him off the field for a third time in the second half. Miller in the gun, back to pass. Eagles bring pressure. Neal gets to him at the 15 and rings him down. Javaris Neal. A shark searching for its prey. Found Miller back at the 15 and drops him for a loss of 9. Rush. First and 10 Eagles from the 45, ball on the left hash. Thomas takes the snap, hands off Hibbett. Shakes a man at the 50. Hibbett cutting right, 35-30. Hibbett off to the races, 20, 15, 10. Sayonara! Touchdown! Carson-Newman! Check the stopwatch on Andy Hibbett. Send him to the locker room. He punches the door of the KSAC on yet another 50-plus yard touchdown run. His third of the day, 55 yards. For Andy Hibbett, 48-14, Carson-Newman. Oh, boy!
Those are the second half highlights. The Eagles roll 48-20 over the Mars Hill Lions. When we get back on the Ken Sparks Show, it's time for Michael Watrang to shine the Eagles spotlight on Robbie Ignani. That's after this. Back on the Ken Sparks Show, each week we like to shine our Eagles spotlight on one Carson-Newman football player. And this week it's on senior offensive lineman Robbie Ignani.
College athletics is a wonderful place to see young people mature. A prime example of that is senior right guard Robbie Ignani. When Ignani first arrived on Carson-Newman's campus, it seemed improbable that he would carry the banner for the offensive line. But now Ignani embraces the leadership role.
Well, I just watched how they were an example, like how they were out on the field. I learned a lot from Kevin, Lucas. Those guys taught me a lot about how to keep my head level out on the field. Alex taught me how to be smart.
Offensive coordinator Mike Turner believes that Ignani's struggles has helped him to grow as a human being and a leader on the team.
You know, I've heard Coach Sparks many times, they forget about those scoreboards, and gosh, of all the kids I've coached, I can't tell you the scores of games and things like that, but I can tell you stories about those guys, how they've grown up, where they came from, how they've grown up, what's happened in their lives since they've been here. That's the rewarding part. That's why you do it. That's a part of your ministry, what it's about. And I think you're doing what God wants you to do, and that's to grow up young people, and that's to hopefully show them a way that's going to lead them in the right direction.
Young players always look for someone to show them the way. Junior quarterback DeAndre Thomas has grown as a person thanks to the example of the offensive line.
Coming in my freshman year, I ain't really say much, but watching the offensive line and watching him as like a big guy during the summer, just to see big guys like that going out there running full speed, running hard, giving their all, it's just great to see, and it makes you want to go harder as a player. And as far as Carson-Newman way, he's doing it the right way, and it's a great guy to look up to learn from.
Turner said that there was probably a time when Ignani didn't want to be a leader, but he stepped up when his time came.
I think at one time earlier in his career he wouldn't want any part of that, but he's come along into that part, into where he's not only a leader in some ways, but he's the role model type for some of those kids. And Robbie's had some struggles in his life, and he's learned to overcome many of those, and I'm very, very proud of his growth and his maturity. He's a very fiery type player, very explosive type player. That's what makes him special as an offensive lineman. and he just continues to get better there. And he's learned to understand what it is to be in the situation that he's in, what opportunities he has. But his passion for the game is, unquestioned, and his desire to be great at it is unquestioned. His work ethic is great, so he's what you're looking for.
Ignani has a degree in psychology and is currently working on his MBA. He had a chance to call it quits, but he wants his teammates to understand why he decided to play one more season in Mossy Creek.
I just want everybody to know that I was looking out for them, to know that I was always working for them, and that basically the only reason I'm even playing my 5th year is because I love these guys. I mean, I could have just kept on going with like what everybody else has to do after they graduate. I mean, I have my degree, but I just decided to play with these boys one more time. And NFL, whatever, that's cool, but I already told these guys it's really all about them, so I love them, so I hope that everybody loves me back, I guess.
Turner gave the highest of praises to Ignani. The veteran offensive mastermind knows most kids are not thinking 5 years into the future. With everything Ignani has gone through, Turner believes that the senior is ready for whatever the next chapter of his life brings. For the Ken Sparks Show, I'm Michael Watre.
Thank you very much, Michael. And Ken, Robbie Ignani, a player who continues to show growth both on the field and off, it seems like.
Well, I think so. I think Robbie has been a great success story in a lot of ways. Spiritually, I think physically as a football player, developing himself. Maturity-wise, he's just come a long way, and he's still growing. He'd be first to admit he's still got some work to do, but he's a whole lot more fun to be around all the time now than it used to be when he was just fun to be around part of the time. So we're glad. I tell you one thing, we're glad to have him on our football team.
Next opponent, a tough one, the Open Dates.
I think we can win that one.
Really good quarterback, really good running back for them.
Yeah.
How do you plan for that nickname for the bye week?
Well, if we can not get a bad case of some unknown disease, let me see, what kind of disease?
Ebola? We don't want.
No,
this is unknown.
Cowpea the punk.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Oh, that's a bad disease. If we won't get that one, we're really seriously. We're looking forward to doing some fundamental work this week and doing some things that you aren't able to do when you're doing game plans. Mm-hmm. And so we'll have snappy practices this week, and we'll try to get a whole lot better blocking and tackling this week.
Ken, pleasure as always. Congratulations on the victory, and enjoy the off week.
Thank you very much.
That's Carson-Newman head football coach Ken Sparks. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier. This has been the Ken Sparks Show. Thanks for watching.